Hi guys. Okay, I didn't read my book for a week now, so today I'm going to have some time to read book today. And yeah, I have a friend today who will read the book with me, and I am on page 32, and this book has 120 pages, so I hope I can read and finish in 1 month. So let me take a coffee before I'm reading. Okay. Let's get started. This is a decaf coffee, not really has any caffeine. Okay, let's get started. My book. You don't know the JavaScript yet. At chapter 2, surveying JS. Okay, each file is a program. Almost every website's web application you use is comprised of many different JS files, typically with .js file extension. Is tempting to think of the whole things, the application as one program, but JSC is differently. In JS is standalone, file its own separate program. The reason is method is primarily around error handling. Since JS treats file as a program, one file may fall during pass compose or execution, and that will not necessarily prevent the next file from being processed. Obviously, if your application depends on files.js file and one of them fails, the overall application will probably only particulars operate as best. It's important to ensure that each file works properly and that to whatever extent possible, that handle failures in other files as gracefully as possible. It may surprise you to consider separate JS files as separate JS programs from the perspectives of your users or of an application. It sure seems like one big program. That's because the execution of the application allows these individual programs to collaborate and act as one program. Note: Many projects use build process to the end of compiling separate files from the project into the single files to be delivered to a web page. When this happens, JS treats this single compiled file as the entire program. The only way multiple standalone .js files act as single program is by sharing their state and access to their public functionality via the global scope. They mix together in their global scope namespace, so at runtime they act as a whole. Okay. Since ES6JS has also supported a module format in addition to typically standalone JS programming formats, modules are also file-based. If a file is loaded via modules loading mechanisms such as an import statement or its script type modules text, or its code is treated as a single module. Thus, you wouldn't typically think about a module's correction of state and publicly export method to operate on that state as a standalone program. JS does in fact still treat each module separately, similar to how global scope allows standalone files to meet together at runtime. Importing modules into another allows runtime interoperations between them, regardless of which code organization pattern and loadings mechanisms is used for a file standalone or modules. You should still think of each file as its own mini programs which may then cooperate with its meanings. Programs to perform a function of your overall application. Values. The most fundamental unit of information in the program is value. Values are data. They are how to programs maintain states. Values come in two forms in JS: primitive and object. Values are embedded in program using iterations like greeting function. My name is Carl. In this program, the values my name is Carl is a primitive string iteros. Strings are ordered collections of characters usually used in represent word and sentence. I use the double quote character to delimit surrounding separate define the string values, but if I could have used the single quote character as well. The choice of which quote character is entirely stylistics. The important things for the sake of quote readabilities and maintainabilities is so to pick is one and use in consistently throughout the programs. Another option to delimit a string itero is to use the backtick. Okay, character. However, its choice is not merely stylistic. There is behavioral difference as well. Consider we have console log my name is, and we have of course so my first name. So my name is first name. When we console log my first names, we should be that. Okay. Okay, I see now. Assume this program has already defined a variable first name with the string value counts. The minus delimited string then resolves the variable expression indicated with $sign and backslash. It is currently value. It is called interpolation. This is called interpolation. The backticks determines the backticks the limited string can be used without including interpolated expression, but that defeats the whole purpose of alternate string iterative syntax. Okay. Am I confusing you by omitting interpolation? Am I continuing? That's okay. The better approach is to use single quote or double quotes. Again, pick one and stick to it. Forcing unless you need to interpolation servers backticks only forcing that will include interpolated expression. On the other hand, string.js program often contain other primitive iterative values such as booleans and number. We have vowels, loop, and while false, and then construct a number. While represent a loop type, a way to repeat operations while its condition is true. In this case, the loop will never run and nothing will be printed because we use the for booleans value as the loop condition. True would have resulted in the loop that keep going forever, so be careful. The number 3.141592 is, as you may know, an approximation of mathematics pi to the first 6 digits rather than average such a value. However, you would typically use the predefined math.pi value to the purpose. Another variation on numbers is the big integer primitive type, which is used for storing arbitrarities large numbers. Numbers are most often used in programs for counting steps such as loop, iterations, and accessing information in numeric position and array or index. We will cover arrays object in the little bit later, but as an example, if there was an array called names, we could access the element in the second position like this. Okay, console log, we have an array and then name at position 1. So we're gonna print my name is Kai. We use 1 for the element in the second position instead of number 2 because in most of programming language, JS array indicates are 0 base. 0 is the first position. In addition to string number and booleans, two other primitive values in JS programs are known and undefined. While there are differences between them, some historics and some contemporaries. For the most some historics and some contemporaries. For the most part, both values serve the purpose of identifying imprintingness or absence of value. Many developers prefer to teach them both consistently in this fashion, which is to say that our values are assumed to be in distinct class tables if care is taken. This is often possible, however, safest and best to use only undefined at a single empty values, even though no seem attractive in that it's shorter to type. While values is not undefined, we're gonna console log still got something. The final primitive value is to be aware of is symbols, which is a specific purpose value that behaves as a hidden and guessable value. Symbols are most exclusively used specifies key on object. Okay, you won't encounter directly using of symbol very often in the typical JS program. They are mostly used in low-level code such as libraries and frameworks. Okay, next, array and object. Besides primitives, the other values type in JS is an object values. As mentioned earlier, array are special type of object that's comprised of an order and numeric index list of data. Bar, name, Frank, Carl, Peter, Susan, and we call name.links. We're gonna get 4 because we have 4 elements in this name array. And if we want to access name array at first element, we're gonna call names and have brackets over number 0, so we're gonna get Frank's. And we want to get access to Kai's name, we're gonna call name and brackets at position 1. Arrays, JS array can hold any value type, either primitive or object, including other array. As we will see towards the end of chapter 3, even functions are values that can be used in array or object. Note, functions like array are a special case, subtype of object. Function is object. Okay, we will cover function in more detail in a bit. Objects are more general and unordered keys collection of any various values. In other words, you access the element by string location name, a key or property. You can access object as a key and property that you're gonna get values rather than by the numeric position as with array. For example, we have objects variable, we declare variable object named me and assign it to an object starting by curly bracket, and we have the first key is called first value is count, and the second one, last, value is symbol, and age, value is 39, and specialist with array, and inside array we have string, JS, and table tennis. So like as we say, object can be any type inside SS array. Okay, console log. When you want to console logs, my name is me. We gonna call me dot first, or also we can me and have a string inside curly bracket and then name as key value pairs. Here me represent an object and first represent the name of a location of information in the object value collection. Another syntax option that access information in the object by its property key use the square bracket such as me and have code inside, and then we access by key name. Okay, the next one, value type determination. For distinguishing values of type of operators, tell you is built-in type is primitive or object. Otherwise, type of 42 is the number. Type of ABC is string. Type of true is booleans. Type of undefined is undefined. Type of nonce is nonce. Type of object A as key value pair with value 1, and object no up. No is object. No is type of object. No is not type of no. We don't have type of nose, we have type of object. So undefined type of undefined, nose is type of object. Function is a type of function, also known as object as well. Type of arrays will be object. We don't have type of array. Okay, warning, type of nose unfortunately return to object. Instead of expecting nose, also type of return the specific function for function, but not the expected array for array. Okay. How far we gonna finish chapter 2? Oh, it's long way. How many? Okay, I would say how many chapter they have. Appendix. Okay, they have 3 chapters. Okay. Covering from one value type to another, such as form, string, or number, it refers to in JS as corrections. We will cover this in more detail later in this chapter. Primitive values and object value behave differently between their assigned for pages around. We will cover these details in Appendix A, value vs difference. Values and vs different. Okay. So that's gonna be primitive value and object value. So object composite, that's what we call. Okay, declaration and using variables, that's another topic. To be explicit about some things that may not have been obvious in the previous section, in JS program, values can be either appear as literal values, as many of the preceding example illustrates, or they can be hints in variables, things of variables as just container for values. Variables have to be declared, created to be used. There are various syntax forms that declare variables. Okay. The var keywords declare a variables to be used in the parts of the programs and optionally route initial values assessment. Another similar keywords is let. Okay. Okay. The let keywords has a different to var, with the most obvious being that let's route a more limited access to the variables than var. This is called broad scope. Okay, so var is global scope, less is broad scope. Okay, as opposed to regular or function scope, consider we have variable var adults and assign to true, and we check if adults inside we have box scope. Var my names is equal to cows, list 8 equal to 39, and then we console log. Sure, this is a secret, right? And then when we console log outside of if statement, when we console log my names, we gonna print cow. But if we console log age with declare with let keyword, we gonna throw an error because let keywords can access only inside block scope, but var keywords can go anywhere around. So when you console log and print my name, that's why you get cows. But when you console log at age, you threw an error because less is block scope, cannot go outside of the two global scope. It's work only inside block scope. The attempt to access age outside of the if statement result is an error because age was block scope to the if whereas my name was not. Block scope is very useful for limiting how widespread variable declaration are in our programs, which helps prevent accidentally overlap of their names. But var is still useful in that if communications are communicated, this variable will be seen by a wider scope of the whole function. Both declaration form can be appropriate in any given part of the programs depending on the circumstance. Note, it's very common to suggest that var should be avoided in favor of less or cons. Generally, because of previous function confusions over how the scoping behavior of var has worked since the beginnings of JS, I believe this is overly less tricky advice and ultimately unhelpful. Is assume you are unable to learn and use feature properly in combinations with other feature. I believe you can be choose learn any feature variables, and I believe you can choose learn any features variables and use them where appropriate. Others declaration is cons. It is like less but has an additional limitations. That it must be given a value that is the moment is declared and cannot be reassigned different values later. Consider cons my birthday is equal to 2, let 8 is equal to 31, and then inside of if we call shadow, right? So we check if my birthday is true, 8 will be equal to 8 at 1, that will be okay. But if we change my birthday with declare by const values, so we cannot change that. It's gonna throw error. The my birthday constant is not allowed to be reassigned. Const declare variable are not unchangeable. They just cannot be reassigned. It is still advised to use const with object values because those values can still be changed even though the variables can't be reassigned. This leads propagations confusing down the line. So I think it's best to avoid situation like, okay. So that should be for today. I gonna finish reading now and see you next time.